Everything's going fine. How you doing today, brother? Brother Harold, unmute your speaker on your. All right.
Okay. All right, y'all. I'm so sorry. I'm up streaming on YouTube. My mic muted. I ain't heard nothing. So let me start over. My goodness gracious. All right. Well, again, for those y'all that's streaming on YouTube, through the Raw Spiel and through Pastor Bolden's um page, I want to welcome y'all. We're going to continue with the series, the Real Family Feud. And like I said last week, we were talking about the blended family. And based on the story, this young lady was telling me that this young lady was explaining uh, how her stepmother was treating her. And and the ones that tuned in last week, I hope y'all take a lesson from that. And not it was more than just a blended family discussion. It was, to me, it's also a discussion of triumph. No matter all what they done been through, they it's amazing enough. They're not bitter. They're being called out their name. I had a real in-depth conversation with her the day before the show last week, last Thursday, and man, she was, man, hitting with some heavy stuff. But just grateful, they're not bitter through all that stuff. And like I said, that's also a story of triumph. Despite all what they done been through, they grown, got families of their own, and they're showing what a blended family supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to add into that before we get into the in-laws.
I just thank the Lord that people that she was willing to share her story, and that we were allowed to speak on it, to use that story to be a blessing to others. And you never know, stories like that. I would imagine it would help other people, especially parents that are in blended families, to kind of check themselves, to examine themselves, I guess, to make sure that things are on the up and up with them, because sometimes people can get used to some kind of dysfunction and just think that things are the way they're supposed to be. And so to me, these kind of broadcasts, these kind of programs like what you're doing here, Brother Aaron, they're designed to help wake people up. And so you never know who we may help by using these examples that we're using, concerning real life situations that people have actually lived through.
Oh yeah, that's a fact. Yes, and this week we're gonna sum it up with the in-laws. That too can cause issue, in a marriage. You might marry a spouse, either the husband or wife, that might come from a tight knit family,
Mm-hmm.
and some bodies they just can't let go.
Mm-hmm.
And it all depends. You might have might marry a guy that's a mama's boy, and if you don't marry the mama's boy, you don't open the door to have your for your mother-in-law to no meddle in your business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what. So I figure once you say I do, everybody else ought to be done. But some people they have a hard time, just letting go. Even even with the sisters and brothers, they have a hard time with just no let no just letting go. Hey, you know, old Junior done got married now. We got to step back.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the mother and father, especially when there's kids involved. You have kids of your own. Now you got the in-laws saying, "Oh, wait a minute, yeah, don't y'all think y'all should be doing it this way, this and that way?" But you got a spouse that's real tight with his or her family. That's going to cause the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I really feel you got to have some kind of boundaries there.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't set no boundaries, you're in for a long ride.
Yes, you are.
And you have people, you have mama's boys and daddy's girls, and this social media stuff else. I was looking at a post somebody put on there some time ago, was asking, is it bad to be called a mama's boy and a daddy's girl? If so, why? No, stuff like that. I normally don't say nothing about it, but and I came at it from a marriage standpoint. Okay, you got a no mama's boy. He getting married. Who he gonna put first? His wife or his mother?
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with a no daddy's girl. She daddy done pampered and spoiled all her life, and she getting married to a man you know who's going to lead a household, and she don't get away and picture fit.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want to focus on the mama's boys. I don't think no woman want to be in competition.
That's right.
I really feel that you know if your mother is alive, your number one woman in your life should be your wife.
That's right.
No ifs, ands, or buts about that.
That's right.
So mama gonna have to take a back seat, and sad to see nowadays. You see these women, they put on social media, whatever. They sometimes they so-called a single mother or whatever, and that has boys. You'll hear them say, I'm going to teach my son how to treat a woman. I'm gonna raise my son on how to treat a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Now that can be a little bit dangerous, especially if they've had bad experiences with guy. They've been dating the wrong kind of guy,
Mm-hmm.
and so the possibility they go take that boy, her son, and shape him into to being a so-called man that they was lacking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that's a tight situation. Unfortunately, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but from what I'm seeing, a lot of these young ladies that's having these kids, they are really, um, especially those boys, they are really, I won't say worshiping them. They really say they, and I don't get me wrong. I know you got to take care of your children or whatever, but sometimes they taking it to a whole nother level.
Yes, they are.
So I don't know. Y'all, that's why I got Pastor Bone on here to give some insights so you can see biblically what we can do here. 'Cause I, I don't get this. Like I said, I see a bunch of mama boys being raised right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I feel I feel for them when they get older and get married. That and they already talking. some of these young ladies talking already right now, talking about snatch the wig off a girl. I mean, the boys, they're 7 years old right now. You're talking about what you gonna do to your future daughter-in-law. He ain't in junior high yet. So that could be a handful there. So I'm gonna let you take it from here. Bottom line, you got to make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Either your husband, your wife, or your family.
Mm-hmm.
Something got to give.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you, Brother Harold, I used to read that scripture in the Bible that what the Word of God says that Adam said. For this cause, talking about his wife. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. And I used to think that was the oddest thing to me, and maybe it's just the generation that I grew up in. I used to think it was the oddest thing that the Bible would say that the man would leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, like that was a necessity. I thought it was odd that it wouldn't say the other side of it, that the woman would leave her mother and father. Because, when I was growing up, uh, young men were being raised to be young men. You know, when I was growing up, it, in most of the households, when a young man turned 18, you better have some plans. You need to go to college. You need to have a job. You need to be ready to take care of a family, and that's how they were being raised. And it wasn't until I left our hometown and joined the Navy and saw some of the things that I saw. Both of us being from a small town, or old country town with a lot of churches and things like that, we were pretty much all taught the same thing in the same way. And so I didn't understand, why would God feel the need to put that in the Bible? Like, it just seemed like that was, and I know He don't make mistakes, but it just seemed like I was thinking, why would that be in the Bible? That the man would leave. Why would a man have a problem with leaving his father and mother? I just never understood that. And it wasn't until I went out into the world and I began to see these things, what we're talking about tonight, what you were saying earlier. I began to see how children, and even our age, I began to see how young men were mama's boys, and how the women were raising them to be that way. And so my take on it, concerning that, as I was explaining before to the congregation, that God made Adam and Eve to be husband and wife. And I noticed that mama boys are the result of wife not being attached to the husband the way she should be, or being attached to the man that she's with the way that she should be. I believe that God put in all of us to love a spouse, to love that significant other. But when that marriage is not intact the way that it should be, then naturally so, mama's got to find some male to love on. And instead of her giving that love to her husband, maybe because they done got into an argument, maybe there was a big fallout that they have not uh, reconciled, or whatever the case is, then naturally, so she's going to be drawn to pour that love onto her boys, because to her that's the next best thing, is those boys. And so then you get this tug of war going on inside of the home, where where instead of the father getting the love, from his wife, then the sons are getting the love from that wife, because she's got to love somebody. And oftentimes it's going to be that male. And so if things aren't right between husband and wife, then just naturally so she's gonna pour that. And I don't even know if it's on purpose. I just think that woman is programmed to love a male unconditionally, and to spoil a male, if that makes any sense. And instead of that husband getting that royal treatment, then that wife or that woman, she can turn that on to her sons and make them narcissistic. Because to me, that's really what you're raising. When a mama's boy is being raised, they become narcissists. And
Oh,
unfortunately for them, they don't get the training, the proper training that they need to be a husband to a woman. Because to me, I feel like this: the Bible tells us as parents to train up our children in the way that they should go. And so to me, if I'm going to raise my daughters, and I have five of them, if when I raise my daughters, I raise them not to think they're supposed to always get their way. You're not gonna always get your way, So I don't want to ruin you when you get married. I'm just letting you know up front, you're not gonna always get your way. So there'll be some times when when all my daughters are grown now, but when they were young, I would tell them, y'all not gonna always get your way. Sometimes you're gonna ask for something, I'm gonna tell you no, not because I don't want to give it to you, not because I don't have it, but that's a term that you need to come to terms with is no. And I'm trying to raise you so that when you get married you're going to have to learn to play. You're going to have to learn how to play fast. You're going to have to learn how to hear the word no without thinking that your marriage is going down the pipe. And so, I think that we as parents, we have to raise our children to be mothers and fathers and to be husbands and wives so that our children, their children, when they get grown, they're not suffering because of the marriage suffering. So I think ultimately mama's boys are the results of failed relationships between the mother and the father.
Oh yeah, and that number again, y'all, is 941-745-1490. That's 941-745-1490. Email address is info@therawspiel.com. That's info@therawspiel.com. If you want to email the show at any time, you're more than welcome to do it with questions, comments, any concerns. You may even have a show idea, or you can email about today's topic or whatever. But yes, it's all on, it's all depends on how they're raised. I was listening, it might have been on Facebook, as somebody I know on there. All her, she had two boys, two girls, if I ain't mistaken, but yeah, they all grown now. I know one of her boys, when her father was still alive, she was stating that she gonna send him. She was stating on Facebook she gonna send him off to live with her dad. Now the her kid's father, was not in the picture, or whatever. No, she done all she could do on her own, but now I know one of her sons. She said I'm gonna send him off to live for my father, because she said I can't teach him how to be a man. And her, I really respect her for saying that. That's very big of her. To send that boy down to his grandfather. Let him see what it's like to be a man. And when I saw that post, I'm like, oh yeah, she gets it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's about. I just wish there was more that can think that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, and like I say, you got to set some boundaries, and like I said, that do begin with your upbringing. Yeah, you see it on social media all the time. The boys is 12, 13 years old, no still laying on the bed with mama. So I say, man, ain't nothing cute about that, y'all. Why y'all think that's, boy, I don't care, it might be 7, 18. No, you don't need to be posing. I mean, it's okay to be proud of your son or whatever. When you ain't got to be laid up in the bed posing with your ball. Now just don't go outside, get dirty. Waste something. Like I said, that's you're gonna cause his future wife to always be in competition. I don't think, like I said, I don't think for one moment no woman want to be in. She a woman married. No, I don't think she want to be in competition with no other woman, let alone her mother-in-law.
That's right.
no, everything you, no, every step you make, your mother-in-law got something to say.
Mm-hmm.
Your mother-in-law dictating what's going on, and I no anybody saying no anybody saying no forget your mother even exists.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some cases where a man will leave his wife and kids to go see about mama, and then leaving the wife got to handle the kids on her own.
Mm-hmm.
My understanding, mother, she may be sick or whatever, go see about it. But I'm talking about going for long periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nothing wrong with ain't nothing wrong with no checking on mama every now and then, but don't leave your family behind.
Mm-hmm.
And you got some guys, they and here's another thing. Maybe you can explain it to me, or maybe somebody can call in. I hear this impression. Some women will say, "I like to see how a man treats his mother, because that's going to determine how he treats me." I can't 100% agree with that.
No.
Because you just never know. You might meet that man. Him and his mother might not have a good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Might not be. It might not be his fault. She might say, don't come around me, whatever. You honor her wishes.
Mm-hmm.
You ask them, what, how come what's going on with you and your mama? Well, we haven't talked in a couple of years. Oh, that's how you gonna do me? That ain't a wife and a mother. That's two different things.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I never understood that concept. And then again, you watch the man being so overly loving on his mama, sitting in his mama, 30, 40 years old, sitting on his mama lap. That ain't cute.
Yeah.
Oh, he love his mama. Oh, wait a minute now. You're going too far.
Mm-hmm.
So that concept, y'all, I don't understand that. I, this theory, a man want to marry his mama. Man, look, I, how, how that sound? Man want
Yeah.
to marry his mama. The child, the way you stir that pot remind me of mama. Boy, you kiss it, man. Woo, just like mama. No man want to. So I don't. So like I said, that once how a man treats his mother, I don't think have a reflection on how he's going to treat you.
Yeah.
I, Me personally, I just say, man, y'all just forget all that and wait on God to send somebody your way. Don't
Exactly.
leave that checklist alone.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I honestly, I think, Brother Harold, I think a lot of times if for women that are doing that may be raising a mama's boy, and because some of them are proud about it. Some of them are proud of that, and they think they really think they're teaching their son how to be how to treat a woman, when in fact you're really training him to have for there to be competition between the mother and the daughter-in-law. But I honestly believe if that woman would be honest about where she's at, she will have to see that it's selfishness, to raise a son to really to bow down, and to now don't get me wrong. I think there's, the Bible tells us to honor our parents, honor our mother and father, and I believe in that. But there's a difference between honor and worshiping a mother. You see, and I sincerely believe that if that woman is honest, that's doing that, she will see that she's really using her son as a band-aid, using her son for some emotional healing that she needs. I sincerely believe that, when a woman's in that place where she's raising a mama's boy, if she's single, she need to get married. She need to find a husband. Don't try to make your son into a husband to where he's doing everything but being intimate with, because then, to me it throws things off for when he wants to get married. And I've talked to sisters, and I've seen how, this competition, and then I've seen how mothers will get jealous of their daughter-in-laws, and because they feel like the daughter-in-law to come in and took their son away, and things like that. And I just think it's all an emotional fix that really they need to turn to a spouse for, if that makes any sense. I think about I think about Hannah, the prophet Samuel's mother, and how she was praying to God for a child. She wanted a son. And, for a long time, the Lord didn't grant her request. And even her husband came to her and said, am I not enough for you? Why are you crying and so distraught over the fact that you don't have a son? Am I not enough? And it wasn't until she changed her prayer that God granted her request. And her prayer was, Lord, if you give me a son, I'll give him back to you. And now the Lord understood you're not gonna make a God out of him, because that Samuel, he'd have been a spoiled little somebody if
Mhm.
God had granted her request. And I think we really need to take a look at that, and consider that when God gives a woman a son, it's not for her to make a God out of him and to worship him, and vice versa. I think if the mother really loves the son, she's just like the lady that you mentioned, how she posted on Facebook. She's gonna get her father to raise her son, his grandfather to raise him, because she can't. To me, I applaud that, because now you're thinking more. You love your son, and you're thinking more about his future than you are your present hurt or whatever it is that you may be going through, or whatever the case may be. Not saying that every woman is going through that, but I mean, I think we as parents, we have to think about what's best for our children, and not necessarily what we want in the present time, but think about what's best for them.
Oh yes, yes indeed. That number again is 941-745-1490. 941-745-1490. If you want to get in on the conversation. Yes, indeed. And if you have to, daddy's girls, as you just mentioned, don't want to get them to the point where they always having their way. Another thing that gets me, I hear some guys that has girls.
Mm-hmm.
They 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 crack me up sometimes. They say, I hear some guys say, there ain't there's ain't no boy out there good enough for my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I sit back and I just look at that and listen to him. Okay, well, but you lay down with some man's daughter
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to make a daughter.
Yeah.
So I guess you the only good man on this world. Ain't, ain't nobody else good enough for your daughter. So you get you hold your daughter in high regards for that. When she getting married, she may marry, she might have a good man that she want to marry, but and don't get me wrong, it's good, you have your parents, you look at your parents' marriage and you kind of get a basis
Mm-hmm.
of what a marriage ought to look like. Okay, this what daddy do, this what mama did. Okay, when I get married, I'm gonna do this here. Okay, that's how it goes. Okay, then there might be some things in your parents' marriage that you don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm stay away from that. Don't get me wrong. I mean that's a good thing. You have something to look at, but you you out you here to marry a husband, not your father.
Mm-hmm.
Also, and same with the man too. He don't want to be in. I don't think a man want to be in competition either.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. You have a good bond with your father out there. That's good. But
Mm-hmm.
you have a husband now.
Mm-hmm.
Your father, he got to step back.
Mm-hmm.
You got to and same people have to respect the marriage. You can't just do what you've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Especially especially you live in the same area code.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, same zip code.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't be just can't take that man's wife and hang out 2, 3 in the morning like y'all used to do. You
Mm-hmm.
can't take that woman's husband and then y'all just kicking it 7, 8 hours leaving her at home. So
Yeah.
some got to give. Somebody will get tired of it after a while. And you know, that's the outside influence. You know, I mean, a relationship could be fine, but you know, you outsiders, yes, you in-laws, you're outsiders.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to. I just think you gotta get your priorities together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it should be your husband, your wife. No, I'm sorry, it should be God first,
Mm-hmm.
then your husband and wife. Mama, dad, sister, brother. I see you when I see
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand that. You know, and thinking about daddy's girls, like what we're talking about now, I think to me, I think that's just as dangerous for and bad for marriage as mama's boys. You know, really the same concept to me, just with different sex. You know, different. But I think you know you know, by the time a little girl come along in a relationship or a marriage, you know, from the marriage, I should say, she might be born in in uh, in the middle class. Let's just use that as an example. This little girl, she might be born in a middle class family, and she's used to getting what she wants. You know, same concept of what we were talking about before about maybe things aren't right between her parents or whatever the case is, and so the daddy is doting on her and things like that. And unfortunately, she get this she can get this twisted mindset concerning marriage because she may think that she's supposed to marry somebody that is where her parents are at the present. And you know, she might not know that her daddy was broke when her and her mother got married, that they had to build together. And so, and I'm saying all that to say this, that I think as parents, you know, as a father, you know, I try to teach my daughters and other women in the ministry uh, that when you get married, you might have to build with that man. You can't expect to just start off just you know already where your parents were because they might have had some struggles that you don't know about, you know. And so and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a woman wanting to have something, but I think if she wants something, she ought to be willing to build with that man and not just think that she's supposed to marry into something that's already completely established. You know, if the Bible, if the Lord says that I will make Adam a help that's meet for him, that means that that woman is there to help him to build. You know, and so I think we gotta, you know, we look at sometimes people look at these programs kind of like what you brought up before, Real Housewives of this, and you know, Real Basketball Wives of that. You know,
you.
it to me it gives this false scenario of what marriage is supposed to be. To me,
Yeah.
a marriage is stronger when the husband and wife are building together, you know, and starting from something, you know, instead of her just looking for money, looking for something already there, and then trying to marry into it. You see, but to me, a woman ought to look into building. I think that, and so to me, the daddy's girl, she don't hardly want to do that, you know. So I think it's important that daddy teach her this is me and mama's money, and this is our story, you know. So no, I can't imagine what it would feel like to be married to a woman that can call her daddy to get money. You know,
Mm.
I know none of my daughters could do that. You know, you married, y'all need to build together. That's what y'all
Yeah.
married for. Y'all build together. I would not, as a father, and again, I'm a father to 5 daughters, and to me, and I consider the sisters in this ministry. To me, all of them are my daughters. To me, you know, I would not get in the way of them growing. And to me, when you just putting the silver spoon in their mouth and them not thinking that they need to work on things and to grow, you know, you're hindering them spiritually as far as I'm concerned. So, you know, I wouldn't get in the way of that. If you marry the man, y'all, you know, don't contact me if y'all struggling and things like that. Y'all need to build together. If, you know, and not saying that I don't mind helping, but to me, I keep in mind that I need to get out of the way so that you can honor your husband the way you need to. Don't compare him to me. We didn't
Mhm.
grow up together. You don't expect him to be me. Just expect him to love God and love you as Christ loved the church. Build on that. But don't look down on him because he might not be where I am or whatever the case is. He has to grow. He's not my age. I'm sure I was doing some stupid stuff when I was growing up. We all had to grow to where we are now, wherever that may be. So to me, don't expect him to be. Don't expect. I wasn't. I'm 47 now. If my daughter marry a man that's 25, I don't expect him to be 47, and she shouldn't either. You see, and so to me, I try to make things realistic to my daughters. That y'all need to build. But you're not gonna be a daddy's girl. Now you're somebody's wife. Be that. You see that.
Oh yeah, that's true. I sometimes see a lot of women, hear a lot of women say, I know one in particular. I seen a post that she said she want a man that's established. Man, I said, yeah, I mean, don't. So that right, just like you said right there, she not willing to yeah be or grow.
Mm-hmm.
She want a man that's already established. Instead of seeing might be interested in a man, or instead of seeing his potential, you can back him up. But no, he needs to be established. I said, man, no, like I said, that's good advice. To get, like, you can. It's okay to look at your parents. Get a blueprint, but don't expect that man to be just like your father. And it's the same thing with the fellas. Don't marry marry a woman expect her to be your mama. That ain't your mama. That's your
Exactly.
wife.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That that that's two different relationships. If you ask me,
Mm-hmm.
a mother and a wife. That's two totally different relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how y'all can put that on the same level. I don't know where y'all started at yet.
Yeah.
So, so I like that verse you were saying. I had to pull it up and with that Genesis 2:24, where he say cause a man to leave no leave mother. Yeah, like you said, leave mother and father.
Mm-hmm.
That, that, that's that should tell you everything right there.
Mm-hmm.
Leave mother and father, no cleave to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
He say cleave to his wife, not his ain't not his mama with in there, not your sister, brother, not your favorite aunt and uncle,
Mm-hmm.
but the man cleave to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a that's just a concept. I don't think many people have a hard time. It's just amazing to me though. Even when I started this show, I'm just amazed at the number of people. They can not to get off subject, but they can take the word just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Just without even breaking it, just believing what it says, but without even having a breakdown. You know,
Mm-hmm.
just just accept the way it is. People say, okay, well that's my brother, that's my sister, whatever. I just can't set them to the side. Ain't anybody saying well, okay, what if it came down to that?
Mm-hmm.
You go out and make a that's through life. You go out and make a tough decision. Are you willing to lose your husband and wife behind your siblings, behind your mom and daddy interfere?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like I said, once y'all exchange vows and says yeah I do, everybody else need to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, that
Mm-hmm.
number is 941-745-1490. 941-745-1490. Want to be a part of the conversation? Email address is info@therossbill.com. That's info@therossbill.com.
Yeah, I like what you're saying about setting boundaries because I'm telling you, I think that's one of the most important things a husband and wife can do, and I think that conversation need to be had before they have a before they get married. You know, that boundaries be set between between the husband and wife concerning their family because I found out just family can be possessive. They can really think. It's funny to me, folks that didn't have anything to do with you
Hmm.
beforehand. All of a sudden
Yeah.
when you get married now, they want to claim you. Now they want to act like your relationship was so close, and things like that. And so, listen, brother Harold, I just have to keep it real. The Bible says that me and my wife are one. And can't nobody come to my house if you don't like my wife. If you don't like her, you don't like me. That's just the way I am. And I ain't got no. I'm married to her for life, and I ain't got no qualms about it. So to me, I don't play this game because people kind of slick and sneaky with it. They want to cause division between husband and wife just in their own little slick way. Maybe because they don't have a relationship, or maybe because they're unhappy in their relationship. But I don't play that. If I know all you got to do, if you don't ever want to see me again, just tell me you don't like my wife, and not saying that she's not a likable person. She's not somebody that's hard to get along with. But people don't need a reason. People don't need a reason. And so, I don't play that. When I married my wife, that was for life. And to me, I feel like I would be grieving the Holy Spirit if I kept company with somebody that had something in their heart towards my wife, anything in their heart towards my wife. Because I feel like I try to put myself in her shoes. How would I feel if she was keeping company with people that just made it known that they didn't like me or that they didn't accept me as an in-law? You see, and to me, I feel like if the Bible tells me to leave and cleave, not to me that's not just my mother and father. That's anybody from mama and daddy on down, cousins, sisters, brothers, whoever. You got a problem with it? That's that you can be over there with it. I'm cleaving to my wife like the Bible tells me to. And to me, because when it's all said and done, they gonna get married. If they're not married, they're gonna be happily married. If they are married, what is gonna leave me and my wife if I'm picking them over her? You see.
Hmm.
And so no, I don't I don't play that game. I'm completely for husband and wife. And to me, I don't even understand why anybody would want to come between the husband and wife. Just like the example you used earlier. You know, I don't think to me, if you single, if you married, you don't need to be running the streets with single people. Because single people they live in a different life than what married people are supposed to be living.
Yeah.
So to me, you asking for trouble. I think there need to be some boundaries set. You know, and Brother Harold, I've seen it up close and personal. I've seen how people will pull on that married loved one just to cause trouble between that husband and wife. Like what we say sometimes, misery loves company. You ain't
Hmm.
happy, you going through something in your marriage, so now you gonna come pull on my wife and take her out and keep her out all hours of no, we're not gonna go for that. We're not going for that at all. We're gonna stand strong. We're gonna show you what a marriage is supposed to be. With my wife and I, we like to be inside. We ain't you're not gonna pull if she going, I'm going. If I'm going, she going. So if you don't want us both for company, then you don't get either of us for company. That's the way I see it. You see, so I just to me, it's almost like it's a spirit out there that just hates marriage and it's gonna it'll use your loved ones to try to tug on, on your to get to go against purposely go against your spouse. You see, and I just don't agree with it. I don't like it at all. And again, I've seen it up close and personal.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the last part. Wanted to say that, who better to who better to destroy you or distract you from your purpose other than family?
Mm-hmm.
Who has quick and easy access to you?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta, God set you on a path. You gotta know a purpose in life. You're determined to do it. Who better to discourage you?
Mm-hmm.
than than a family member.
Mm-hmm.
Who, who better to throw you off course, or try to throw you off course, but somebody in your family. Yeah, that is a good point. You know, yeah, that's yeah. Then that goes again. You making a choice. Somebody can't stand your husband, and somebody can't stand your wife. And so, hey, what you gonna do? I mean, and and that reminds me of something. When I was attending Northwestern. I don't know why this subject came up. Now we all in we in college or whatever. We just lounging around, and somebody threw a question. Um, they directed towards me. I'm trying to paraphrase it. I think he said, "Harold, now if you want to marry a woman and your mama don't like her, so that's not going to work, is it?" I looked down and said, "No, that ain't so." In other words, what he was saying is, you might have a wife, a woman that you want to make your wife, and just because your mama don't like her, you can't marry her. Man, I don't, I don't agree with that, Joe. I don't know what, I don't know. People think like that.
Hmm.
People think, mama or daddy got to like her, him or her, but if that's the person that God, if you know without a shadow of a doubt, that's that's the man and woman that God wants you to be with. It don't matter what sister and brother say or mom and daddy got to say. That's who you need to go with.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't like it. Oh well, it's nice knowing you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a shame that people allow those kind of influences into their marriage. Me personally, I think about how, a lot of times, me personally, I've always been kind of a private person. So even when I had problems before marriage or whatever the case was, I just never went to my mother. My dad's been deceased since 1981. But I just never went to my mother to talk with her about my issues or problems or whatever the case was. I would try to find a man if I could, if it just got overwhelming. But what I noticed sometimes, Brother Harold, in marriage is when people have marital problems, oftentimes they'll lean on people they were leaning on before they even before they were married. They'll if they have a marital problem, they might go around their family. They might not even say anything. They might not even bring up the fact that they just had a big argument, a big fallout or whatever, but just go and lean on them just to be around them for emotional support. And I think even that's wrong. I think if you're married, you don't leave the house until you don't work it out. Don't go around family members trying to ease the pain, go to family reunions, trying to, feel the love or whatever. To me, that's dangerous. That spouse is there for a reason. And I don't think we need to have any substitutes for that spouse. So to me, when you're having marital problems and things like that, I think if you intend on working it out with that spouse, you need to stay there and work it out. Don't go around other people trying to lean, trying to get support, because to me, what it does is it teaches you not to work things out in your marriage. And so I think those are part of the boundaries that we need to have before we get married. If you're determined to work it out, then stay there and work it out. Don't lean on nobody else for that. Leave and cleave is what the Bible says. Leave mother and father and cleave. And if it's and I think it mentions mother and father partially because those are the two relationships that's above everything else before your marriage. you
Mhm.
know and so to me, and everything beneath that, leave everything and everybody else, in other words, and cleave to that spouse, because when it's all said and done, that's who you're going to grow old with, if the Lord say the same. And that's who that to me, my wife is everything to me. Outside of Jesus Christ, she's everything to me. She's my best friend. I want to hang out with her before I hang out with any male friends, if that makes any sense. To me, that's the way marriage ought to be. I sincerely love my wife, and I love spending time with her. You know, and me personally, I think every marriage ought to be that way. I don't have one friend out there. I got several friends, but I don't have one of them out there that could take her place in my mind and in my heart. You know, so to me, that's the way marriage ought to be. And I think whenever people cross those boundaries like that, then you set yourself up for divorce because now your heart is somewhere else. You see, and I just think that boundaries are definitely important to be set. You know, for a marriage to be successful.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's pretty much sums it up. We're getting close to that time. You wanna those that might be new listening, you wanna give them your um website, how they can contact you and or the ministry. Uh,
Yes. Yes, my website is www.onetruth.tv. That's www, the number one, truth.tv. Our phone number is area code 615-530-6138. If anyone want to contact us this way, and we just ask that you leave a message if you call us so that we'll know that you called.
Alrighty, we're getting close to that time. I want to encourage everyone to like and like and share this video if you enjoying what you're hearing. You know, if I understand that supposed to, I guess, get some likes and stuff there. That's supposed to help. You know, when people log into YouTube, give them a opportunity to to catch these videos. So,
Mm-hmm.
and please subscribe to both the Pastor Bolden's YouTube page and definitely please, if you can, subscribe to the Raw Spiel if you enjoy what you're hearing. I got to get to 100 because other than that, I can you know I don't know. Yeah, mine just bunch of letters and numbers right now. So
Yeah.
I got to reach that 100,
Yeah.
and I can put up a good link for
Mm-hmm.
everybody. Yeah, so yeah, so I encourage you to if you like what you're hearing, go on ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Yeah. And I want to ask all of my YouTube subscribers to go to your channel and subscribe. I'll put the link underneath the videos, the raw spill videos for people to be able to click on that link and subscribe. So if they will do that, I'd appreciate
Oh yeah, and then, yeah, God bless you. The same next week. I believe we're going to talk about division in the church.
that. Mhm.
Um, yeah, they got, some of these churches they got all kind of different auxiliaries or whatever. They got the um, women's, all kind of departments. You got the women's department, men's department, missionary department, deacon boards, usher board,
Mhm.
kitchen committee. You got youth department, Sunday school department, church trial number one,
Mhm.
church trial, church trial, church trial number three and four.
Mhm.
Got all these different departments, and they might have a task to raise money for whatever reason. Man, I'm telling you that causes some tension there.
Mhm.
And people tell I remember this church I was a member of, and all these departments. This ain't even a mega church
Mhm.
with all these different departments in there. And I remember one church I was a member of. I guess they had to raise some money for whatever reason, and and to keep in mind now, already in most churches it only has the ratio of men and women is is ain't that many men in most churches.
Mhm.
I want to say maybe that church I was attending maybe had maybe 5 men or so, less than 10, not including the pastor, and the not including the pastor and maybe a couple of teenage boys or whatever. And so I remember this one particular meeting, that the pastor asked one of the sisters to help the men's department do something. I don't remember what it was, but man, well, she went off. She got in the church. She got flat out upset because the pastor asked her to help the men with a fundraiser. But we, if you look at it, we all doing this. We all on the same boat. It's just in the same goal that the money going to the same place. But we get all these different departments. This women department, this department here. You're forming cliques. You, you, and I'm telling you, when it comes down to that money, they just say you building a church, and you know you get a certain group of people. Oh, we don't work hard. We don't raise all this money for this church. But this is the way we gonna do it. I'm gonna do this here, and don't get on the kitchen committee. Don't go over in the kitchen and get you a glass of water. They stand you down. Little stuff like that, you know, that causes trouble in the church. You know, you have different fractions in the church, and then this woman, well, she was really mad, talking about something. I don't want to be in front of the men. I thought, ain't no man looking at you. It's trying to raise some money here. The pastor asked you to help the men out because we shorthanded. Ain't no man trying to do like that. All that. But you know we'll get into that. You know, it's just you got little eyes and big eyes and little U's in these churches, and so we gonna no tear into that. And I want to appreciate everybody for tuning in to the Raw Spiel and tuning in another Friday night. And God bless you the same. We'll touch on these division in the church, and we can get down to the root of what's going on. Pastor Bo and I appreciate you for giving me a hand with this show. And till then, we'll see y'all next week. All right.